is an amateur game. I mean, the professional side of it, there are idols and heroes and fun to watch them play. But I mean, if it wasn't for amateur golf, there would be no golf.
You have to remember, when you play a golf course and you're out there for 4 hours or whatever, you're only hitting a ball for 15 minutes of that. So there's a lot of time to look around.
Hello and welcome to the Top 100 Clubhouse podcast. I'm your host, James Henderson. I'm joined by Jasper Miners, the editor of the website. How are you doing, Jasper?
Yeah, doing really well. Good to be back. It's been a while since we've been on, so yeah, it'd be good to catch up.
Yeah, it's been too long. I know we're going away next week. Yeah, next week together to do a wee bit of soul searching on the links, but I don't know how much we're wanting to say about that, but it's up to you.
Well, I think we can give away, there's at least 2. So we're going to go up and see Old Petty at Cabot Highlands in Inverness. So we'll see what Tom Doak and Clyde Johnson have cooked up. So yeah, we're looking forward to that.
I'm very excited. I'm excited to see both, right? I'm a big fan of Clyde and Christian. That was Christian London, who's done Aberdeen New Course, the Trump Aberdeen New Course. But I've never played either of their golf courses. I've played golf courses that they've worked on. I've never played on a full design by them.
And it's exciting because we're starting to get into that now. We're in the UK. A lot of the clubs are inviting in kind of architects that we've heard about in America and other parts of the world for the last few years. So like King's Colin Dormer doing some work at Royal Dornoch.
That's a huge project.
Massive.
Project.
Yeah, so like a second 18 holes, changes to the Struy, and then a practice facility short course. I mean, it's like they're maximizing every square inch of that property. So it'll be interesting to see how that comes to fruition. But it's certainly ambitious.
And they've just built a new clubhouse. The money that's going into Dornoch right now, it just shows you the amount of foreign visitors there are.
Well, I think I watched something the other day where Rue McDonald was saying that a lot of these Scottish clubs are sitting on like amazing amounts of money, like millions and millions of pounds every year, kind of like after expenses are paid and in reinvesting has been done and future proofing the club and all of that. You're still sitting on a few £1 million, and nothing seems to be slowing down. The prices go up every year and demand seems to increase. But then you have this committee of like local members who are in charge of 7 figures, who are kind of sat there thinking like, well, how should we spend this? And then sometimes you just get some really random decisions. And actually what's made Scottish golf so good for so long is that they've resisted the urge to become American.
Yeah.
And I know like Golland's a course that's very close and near and dear to your heart. But you can see that the changes, I mean, they used to have like a starter's hut that was like quite quaint, and I think everybody would take pictures of it. And it was kind of like it felt like you were standing, like stepping back into time. And I think last time I was up there, they've replaced it with basically a kind of a new swish glass, which is a great structure. And it probably serves the interests of the club better, but it feels like you've lost a little bit.
It looks a wee bit like a bus stop, but the difference is we've stopped losing starters to the winter freeze. So we'd have maybe 3 or 4 starters die off to cold every year. And
it's not a bad return really on investment.
It was bloody cold, and I felt for the starters, and they had to do something. Whether it was the right choice, I don't know. But
I get, we're not here to debate whether it's the right thing or the wrong thing, but I think that's the thing. Once it's sort of like even course conditioning. Like sometimes turf conditions are really good when you don't have all the bells and whistles, and then as soon as you start getting big budgets and you start buying like new tech, new chemicals, and you're like, so what are we after? And they're like, firm turf with fine grasses, and it's like, well, you've had that for like 250 years. And it's like, and actually you should have sheep that did it for you. And like the more you pump into it, now the more you have to maintain it to keep it the way that you've always had it. And I guess, look, it's a new thing for a lot of clubs. This like new money, if you will.
A lot of that technology as well is American. It's not
Yes,
designed for links golf.
and that's where you're kind of like, well, okay, like I understand you want to improve the product, and then there's this thing of like, well, we increase the green fees in order to attract the Americans, because if it's more expensive, then there's this idea that it should be good or better. And in the American psyche, that works. So
Yeah, but
then we're a bit self-conscious about it, because you're like, well, if we're charging that much, then we have to like, actually, we really need to like green it up and roll the greens and put on fancy pass and put out course furniture. And then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, you've basically have lost why everybody wants to come here, because you've just become an American country club.
the funny thing about it is, I once, I won't say which golf course, but I was playing with a gentleman who I shall not name because I don't want to get him in trouble either. But we were walking down a hole, and I was like, "This place looks horrendous." Like what? Just simple things like tidying up bunker lines and like there's just it just wasn't well kept. This was a few years back, so they've actually changed it around. But the guy turned to me and went, James, what you need to realize is, as someone who's ripped off Americans a number of times, you can only rip them off maybe 4 or 5 times before they get annoyed."
Yeah, and I think sometimes we become a bit self-conscious, because I think there is a little bit of like, it is like everybody loves playing a course that's really well maintained and really well presented, and you go into a swish, and it's like, yeah, there's a nice feeling to that, and that's great. And then sometimes I think we get to that point of like, well, maybe we should do better, or maybe they're expecting us to be this, that, or the other. So why don't we give that to them? And it's like, no, actually, it's really good just to be who we are, and this
Yeah,
is why they actually want to come, is because it is different.
but there's things that people miss, right? There's things like having grass varietals that are having no POA on your greens in Linksland, things like that. That so you don't have this knobbly ground that is untrue. Having greens that roll well rather than just not being able to
Fast.
trust them. It's an instant win. Like
Hmm.
it's all about overseeding. It's all about managing the grass varieties and managing your grass. But rather than just cutting them low, rolling them hard constantly, by then midday, if you don't look after your grass varieties, you've got a bumpy ass rubbish green. So these are the things that people, and I don't want to say miss, but it pisses
Well,
people
I
off.
mean, let's be honest. Yeah, and I think there's probably a small subset that understands like the nuances of that, and the amount of work to keep it that way, especially with the changing climate. And then you always have like, you have extremely dry summers now, spring summers and autumns, and then really, really wet winters. And that's causing like traditional wisdom at golf courses is now changing because the climate's changing so much, or it has been in recent years. Who knows whether that'll be a permanent thing. But there is definitely strains on how to present the course, and everybody's struggling to keep up. And for a lot of people, like the nuances of understanding how that works, why that works. And I think a lot of
I
golf
don't
clubs are
know.
getting better at explaining that. But for the average golfer, even people like you and I, who like maybe have a basic working knowledge of these types of things, like high level, um, I mean, we're still compare. You sit down with a proper agronomist who can talk to you about all sorts of things, and you're like, man, like this is not only a science, it's also an art, and it's years of your life properly. So I mean, there's a lot going on, and yeah, it's difficult, but
It's very hard, but there is, once you get it sorted, it seems to be a lot easier to manage. So it's worth it then to get it done over. I don't know if it's overseeding over 5 years and then top dressing
yeah.
just to, but it's worth the investment.
And I think that's what we come back to, is that I think the point we're trying to make is that a lot of the things that have traditionally worked really, really well at British golf clubs, especially on links land, like traditional greenskeeping methods, actually getting back to that,
It's nothing.
actually produces a really fine golf course.
Yeah, it's nothing to do with the what do you call it? It's nothing to do with the pace for these Americans. They understand the greens are going to be slower because of the wind. It's just being able to hit a putt that doesn't veer left because of a heavier bit of grass, or it's just being able to trust your putts. There's places like Loch Ness, that is a golf course that have had amazing greens for years just because they got it right to start off with, and they haven't been messing around with them. And every time you go on there, you can hit a putt, and you know it's going which way it's going. If you
definitely underrated. True greens as opposed to fast greens. I mean, we went off on a bit of a tangent there, but there we go. We just needed an outlet.
Where did
for
we
it.
start?
Got it out. That's good.
Going
to Scotland to see Cabot, I think.
Okay, right. Back to Cabot.
Okay. Back to Cabot. So yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. Now, we've had quite a few people already. So we've had individuals from the world panel be to see the course, from our Scottish panel, from our GB&I panel, and then a few from the English panel that were up and kind of serve over those two countries. So we've had a really good look at it. Now, the thing with Trump is they've said it's the greatest 36 in the world. And I've had feedback all the way from they might be right to I'm not sure. So there's like this massive wide spectrum. And I think a lot of it boils down to the type of golf that you like. We've both been to Trump New to walk it with Christian. And they still have the last 3 holes to kind of finish constructing and grow in. So I'm really excited to see what they look like now.
Yeah.
There's obviously some, and I think that if you probably spoke to Tom and Clyde, and you compared the sites, like the Cabot site to the Trump site, there's a portion of the Trump side that is just
all world
amazing, like the size of the dunes, and it's just it's the Trump.
Christian, he's done a good job in there. I really enjoyed those holes.
Yeah, when we walk them, it'll be very interesting to see how they play. And it's obviously a very dramatic site that's just like fireworks, and it's just it's and I think
my drive into the dunes and then lose it instantly, and then get annoyed.
Go look for my ball.
Stretch of golf.
And that's where I do think that maybe a slightly, well, look at it this way. Like currently in our World Top 100, we've got Trump Aberdeen somewhere in the mid-70s, the old course. And then we've got a classic course like Machrihanish that's just kind of sitting outside as a contender in the World 100. And that might be because a lot of people don't get to Machrihanish. It might be that Machrihanish just isn't as, like, there's not as many fireworks. But I think Cabot strikes me as the type of course that's maybe, say, a high IQ, if I want to turn it that way, in the sense that I think if you were a member at a course like Cabot on the type of land that they have, it's not necessarily going to blow you away every time you play it. But if the wind blows in a slightly different direction, you'd be like, I want to go and play that hole with the wind blowing from that direction because I know it's going to make a difference. Yeah, and I don't know in those dunes if Trump will be the same. But that I'm really excited to see if that holds up.
There's two different types of golf. There's 2 different types of golf course. You've got your reserved, not reserved. It's what's it called? What's the word that I'm looking for? Restrained golf course architecture at Cabot, where it's all about nuance and quality of golf, and it's all. Whereas at Trump Aberdeen, it's more American Disneyland. One person prefers that, one person prefers the roller coaster. So you're all. It's going to be love-hate because they open at the same time. Of course, there's going to be debate about which one's better.
And there's going to be loads of comparisons. And that's where I think it's going to be really interesting. We haven't had this for quite a while. There's actually we've spoken about this previously. There's quite a bit of new golf. Mac Dunes is still in progress, I believe, but that's coming along. And then we still haven't been able to get to, what's the new one that Tigers man is building up in Scotland.
Bo
Head of
Welling.
World Curling. Bo Welling.
He's doing Taymouth Castle. So we
That's
need to
it.
go. I emailed him the other day, so I need to follow that up. I know he's very busy.
So that'll be an interesting one as far as an inland golf course in Scotland. But it definitely, I mean, it'd be interesting to see how much braid is left. But some of the early pictures, I mean, there's definitely not shy on bunkering. That's for sure.
It was considered one of the great golf courses back in the day, like a great inland golf course. It's only 2 hours drive from Edinburgh, so it's not even that. It's not that far at all. It's it's Kenmore. Anyway, so it is a very wet property. That's the only thing I would say.
Yeah, I mean, is it the second Loch Ness, or not Loch Ness, Loch Lomond?
Yeah,
it's kind of in that same, maybe cut from the same. Obviously, Loch Lomond's like in the Trossachs. It's one of the wettest sites in Scotland, and I think they've sandcapped it now twice or 3 times. It's an amazing golf course. I think a lot of people are familiar with it too because it held the Scottish Open for so many years back in the day.
There's a big difference, though. There's a big difference, and I know Bo's a master of this, but the whole of the Loch Lomond site runs down into the loch, and it's a wee bit steeper of a site, whereas the Taymouth Castle is quite a flat site to the river, so the drainage is going to be more difficult, especially the river rises, or there'll be, and also there'll be a lot of. I know that Bo that's probably been one of the reasons he was most linked to the wanted for the project, because he's a genius when it comes to these kind of things. He's a great master planner, and very good at the ugly bits that people don't want to talk about. You know, the underground stuff.
I mean, it's an amazing looking property. Like if you asked a child to draw a castle, like you'd basically draw Taymouth. It's just like the stereotypical castle, like almost Disney type.
I was in the hotel, because you don't have to stay at the castle. You can stay at the hotel. There's a hotel in the town. The town's very small, but it's a lovely, quaint little town on Loch Tay. And there was a pub downstairs that was quite like a working man's pub would be a best way of describing it. And so I'm in the pub with a couple of friends. We're just hammering beers down because that's what you do when you're young. And we're playing pool, and it had a pool anyway. And I take this kid on, and turned out him and his dad for years were maintaining the golf course to a certain standard for free, just to look after it, just out of respect for the golf course. How cool is that?
And you know what, you do find that I think in England you do get the artisan clubs. They're kind of a dying breed now, but there is like a lot of these small towns in Scotland where like you have a member of a club, but he also like works for a half a day cutting the greens. Then you have like the butcher, after he's done, he'll come down and like help out, sorting some trees out. And yeah, it is a proper club in every sense of the word. It's not just a country club. It's like it's part of the community. That's a really cool thing.
Top100golfcourses.com has set the standard for golfers worldwide, and now you can wear that standard proudly. Premium apparel and exclusive gear for those who truly know the game. Shop now at top100golfcourses.com.
The one course that hasn't been built yet, that has escaped me whether they've been allowed to do it or not, is Cool Links.
Yeah, so that is there is something coming up on that. Let me just bring it up. I got a message the other day, and I'm just going to find it. So this might be a bit of a shout out. Let me just find this here. So, with regards to the planning application, it's been 4 years. There's a little bit of work left. So there's 2 SMP MSPs. You probably know those initials better than I do. So SNP must be the Scottish National Party, and then members of the Scottish Parliament.
Yeah.
So there's two, Marie Todd and Emma Roddick. They need to be emailed with support from proponents of cool links, if that's a possibility. So yeah, it seems like it's kind of the final push. So I don't think anything's been decided yet. So yeah, it looks like there's two of these MPs that the Communities for Cool. So that's the Instagram handle that has this information. Communities for Cool, and 4 is the number, not the word. Has the information on basically where it's at, and if you're in favor of that golf course going forward, how you can petition in behalf of the community and the golf club.
Are they for it or against it?
Yeah, so it looks like the local community, over 70% of the local community are for the golf course.
Now, this is interesting because I was talking to someone about this the other day, being like, there's what's important to that area is the economic growth within the area that funds the funds places, like the ability for Dornoch to pay for all these new golf courses and the new practice range and all these and Brora and Tane and Golspie all benefiting from the Dornoch pool, and the amount of money being injected from outside into these rural areas that don't have any money getting injected into them. It's all from golf and whiskey now.
Yeah, well,
So-
this is interesting. So the latest post on Communities for Cool, the proposal is that they would have a shuttle linking Tane, Dornoch, Cool Links, Golspie, and Brora. So 5 destinations. Obviously, you'd have in time the links, like the golf course at Cool Links. You'd have the 2 courses at Dornoch, possibly 3 in time. And then you would have the other ones that are all worth a look. And if you're going to Tane, Inverness isn't that far away, and that opens up a whole nother thing. But the point being, it says they estimate £12 million into your economy annually. So £1 million a month, 400 jobs. So, for these little villages, even
Huge.
those ones like Tane, Dornoch, Cool, Golspie, Brora, you look at those places on the map and there's a few hundred homes max. So you think 400 people, and that's people coming into the area to support those communities. The more people you have coming, the more people have traveling through. There's all those things. Massive
There's
for the
an
Highlands.
amazing. So for people to get a grip of that, I live in Haddington or near Haddington, and Haddington's a market town for East Lothian. You have where you have Muirfield and North Berwick and all these. Haddington's probably about 10,000 people or something like that, and you've got a huge number of towns around that 10,000 mark. Haddington is very well employed, and it's got 2 employers with 200 people each. And that gives you a scale and understanding of. Well, that's a lie because Tesco counts as well. But do you know what I mean? Like it's non-service industry.
Yeah.
So, and that just shows you how much of a difference it will make to these areas. And
Well, look, I mean,
wealthy area.
I come from a small town. So in Saskatchewan, which is in Canada. And look, when I grew up, Saskatchewan is a very poor part of Canada. Since they've discovered oil and gas and rare earth minerals, the fortunes of many have changed.
How many fancy pickups?
Yeah, exactly. So it's an interesting one. But the little town that my father grew up in.
Jasper, just quickly, whenever you want to, whenever the Saskatchewans want to build a new house, do they just lift the roof and put another floor on the log cabins? Just chopped out.
Basically, yeah. Well, that would be really good if we had trees, but we don't have trees. So that's the problem. It is literally. I mean, it is. I mean, there's jokes about your dog running away from you, and you can see him running for like 3 days because it's so flat. And all that kind of stuff. And it is literally it is just barren. Like it is.
It's the
There's
pictures of
no
like the
trees.
bison running and
Yeah, it's exactly what it is. So, I mean, you do get some really cool land, and you actually have some really cool sand hills near the South Saskatchewan River. If you look on a map, you can see some like really crazy. I mean, there's got to be some destination golf at some point, like earmarked for Southwest Saskatchewan.
open
Anyways, we'll
for
get to
2
that at some
months a
point.
year.
Basically, yeah, well, it would be. But you've got pure sand, you've got sand hills, you've got wind. It's a very windy place. So it's like you got all the elements for what would be really good golf. Similar to what you'd find, I guess, in the sand hills in Nebraska or in other parts of the states, Kansas, and that type of in the plains. But yeah, the point is the little town that my father grew up in was a place called Canuck, and that that no longer exists. It's literally just it's not even a stop on the road. There might even be a sign there to say this used to be a town. It doesn't exist. And then the local village to them, Valmarie, um, that's where kind of the rest of my family is farming and ranching. And that little village has gone through really tough times. And everybody's moving in, and a lot of the young people are moving away to go to university and school and find jobs in the cities. And like all these little villages are just gradually shrinking and shrinking. So it's not just a Scottish issue. It's around the world. However, you just know for sure that if there was something amazing that could be done on your doorstep to preserve those communities, that way of life, to engender that community spirit, to provide for those people that want to be there, to bring people back to the area, it
Gives them
seems
something to
mad
fight
to
on.
not want it to do it. Do you know what I mean? So let's see how it goes. But if you do want to support it, there's if you go on to Instagram, Communities for Cool, you can write the two SMPMSPs. Their emails are there provided. You got the application number. I don't know what you need to do with all of that, but if you follow the instructions, you'll find out. But yeah, it's quite engaging. It's quite interesting. So let's see what happens. We should hear about that soon. And if it did, well, Bill Coor and Crenshaw design beside Dornoch,
Yeah,
which would be incredible.
wild. Very cool. First one in the UK.
Yeah, and I mean, then you've got in that neck of the world, you have like the old masters. So you've got some of the best golden age links golf course architecture that could be found anywhere. And then you would have Tom Doak's design at Castle Stewart, Gil Hansen, Mark Parsons' design at Castle Stewart, and then you'd have Bill Coor's design at Cool Links. So you kind of have the big three all on some of the most magnificent links land in the world in Scotland, which would be absolutely incredible. And I think that's the thing for a lot of people, like,
Most people making those decisions won't know that.
and that's where you're trying to help people see, like, actually for tens of thousands of really ardent golf travelers, they would drop everything and come if this was an option. Um,
Well, there's loads of places like Stream Song and Bandon that market themselves about the fact that you can come see all the modern architects' visions in one place. So
yeah, it's like the greatest hits on one site, and I think that's why Streamsong's so exciting. Is that you do have Bill Coor, Gil Hans, Tom Doak, and now David McLeod Kidd, like literally all on one site. So if you can't make it to all their greatest hits, you can actually go and see the differences. And I mean, when you and I played the three courses earlier this year, it was amazing on some very similar land how different they all were. And
yeah,
that was a really cool thing to experience. And I can't wait to go back to see what David McLeod Kidd does.
it's a bit like a wine tasting, isn't it?
Hmm.
Like you get to try these four winemakers, but imagine if they all made it from one vineyard. It's quite
Yeah,
cool.
and how different. Very cool. I mean, speaking about that, last week I was in Slovakia, of all places. So I flew into Bratislava. Now I've traveled quite a lot in Eastern Europe, and I've seen large portions of the world. So I would say Bratislava isn't. It's not necessarily like a city break for like a few days. I think if you go to places like Vienna or Prague, you can maybe spend like 2 days and a night and kind of just walk around, and you wouldn't really see everything. But Bratislava is a smaller town, so I think it's a great place to maybe fly into. And then I went to, it's called Penati Resort. So you've got a Jack Nicklaus design there, which if you play it once, like you'd enjoy yourself. And it's quite like roly poly, and there's all sorts of like heavy handed shaping. And it's certainly a style of golf that you don't see a lot in Eastern Europe, especially in that type of a market. But then the second course, the heritage course, there's actually a Geordie architect, Jonathan Davidson, I believe. But he's done an astonishing golf course. The back nine is, I've played it. I played it, I walked it, and then I play it again the second time. And honestly, if I would have had a chance to go out again, I would have happily gone out and played it, which
That's
is
amazing.
always a good sign. Yeah.
That's a great sign.
So the on-site of accommodation is probably some of the best dormy accommodation I've seen. The rooms are incredible. The food is good. Meat and potatoes. Their speciality was potato salad and veal cutlets, like a breaded veal schnitzel, and it basically filled the whole plate. It was amazing.
So no
yeah,
vegetables.
potato salad.
Oh,
No, not that
potatoes.
many. But I don't know if I don't know. And they pour their pints as half liters, which is good, so you get a little bit extra. So I don't know if that counts as my one a day, but but it's amazing. So their golf season is really interesting. You would think Eastern Europe, kind of out in the forests, that it's a pure sand site, massive sand dunes. Like I'm talking 60, 70, 80 foot high sand dunes in this pine forest. And their season runs from about March through to October. So I was there last week, and it was probably 12 degrees warmer than it was in London. It's like low 30s, high 20s. And they said this type of weather lasts like September into October, consistently. So I thought it was a really cool. I think it's gonna be a really cool vacation to, and I would do it again, even though I've been there once. Fly into Vienna or Bratislava. Have like a day/night, see the sights. The next day, get up, go to the resort, enjoy a bit of time there. Play the two courses, 36 in a day, stay overnight, and then head back to the next city, either Bratislava or Vienna, whatever one you want, and then fly out from there back home to London. Flights less than 2 hours. You can get really decent flights on Wizz. I know it's not like a national carrier, and you're not going to confuse it with business class on BA. So I flew from Luton, and you get 30 kilos for your checked-in baggage, so you can pretty much put whatever you want in there.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it was really, really good. So it was the first time I had flown them. And it was basically my local airport to right direct to Bratislava. So yeah, interesting little trip, but well worth going. So if you're looking for an option, if you've exhausted the north of France or Spain or Portugal, and you're looking for something that's a little bit easier on the wallet, but you want to weave in a bit of culture, maybe bring your partner along and do something that's not just full golf for 3 days. You've got the opera, you've got museums, you've got all sorts of stuff, and a bit of culture. That's a really compelling little trip.
The other thing I wanted to talk about on this podcast was there's an exciting opportunity in England right now for people who are fans of Top 100. And that is, we've got a number of days where people can join or come and apply to be a panelist.
Yeah. So this is kind of it's a bit of a new venture for us, if you will. I mean, I think in the past, yeah, I mean, it's maybe a bit generous. I think we've tossed around the idea of doing this for quite a while. So England obviously is probably the deepest golf country in the world. Not by sheer numbers, but I would probably say with regards to quality. Like the top 100 England list is damn good golf. Especially if you play like even in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Like those are always good days out. So up until this point, like unless you knew one of the guys who was already a panelist, or you knew kind of the top brass at top 100, it was kind of a little bit difficult to maybe crack into like being a panelist. And I think what a lot of people think is that it's like you just literally are golfing all the time. There's a little bit more to it than that. We need a little bit of help, basically talking to the managers a little bit, maybe taking some photographs for us to use on social, writing some reviews after you're done. But there is the opportunity to play a lot of golf and sometimes play golf where the average Joe maybe can't get to go. So the idea is that you apply to come to one of 9 events. Each of those events is in a strategic location at a good golf course. And you'll be able to meet some of the current panelists. There'll be maybe some of the leadership group of Top 100 there as well. And if you apply, you'll be shortlisted, sent an invitation. And if you come, then that's like the first step towards becoming a panelist. So the idea is that we just want to get some representation and sometimes maybe a differing view. So sometimes you can get into a bit of an echo chamber, and it's nice to be able to sit and chat with individuals who have a decent amount of depth, that have a working knowledge of agronomy, that are architecture nerds, and that can defend their decisions when it comes to ranking golf courses. So we're not asking for boffins, or you don't have to have written books on the subject or anything like that. But if you just like golf, if you like talking about golf, if you're curious about what makes golf good, you have an interest in golf course architecture, you have a working knowledge of basic agronomy and things like course management, that will help. So that when you go to golf courses, you can have a more than just a surface knowledge of what makes golf good. Then that's what it takes to be qualified. And we're just trying to find those types of people. So if you think that describes you, fill out the form.
Fill out the form. And also, I don't know if you have the list there and the dates. Maybe we should just rattle through those.
Yeah, so we start at the end of this month, 29th of September. So Hadley Wood. This is an Alistair Mackenzie, bones of an Alistair Mackenzie. And Brett Hochstein and Clyde Johnson are doing a lot of work there. They've done loads of tree work. So Brett's worked on Pasatiempo recently. And Clyde, of course, we've spoken about him already on this podcast with Tom Doak at Old Petty. So that'll be a really good one. September 29th, just 50 quid. That includes your golf and lunch and drinks when you arrive.
Incredible.
I mean, yeah, it'd be a great day out, no matter what it's like. October 7th, not that long after, we go to Minchinhampton Old, which, if you've never been, is an amazing experience. And that's 20 quid to play. Afterwards, we'll just go to the local pub. You basically tee off from a small clubhouse, and then opposite the small little clubhouse is like a local pub. And you kind of play around it, and then kind of from about 1, 2, 3, from 3 onwards, you play away from it and then back to it. So have a quick round of golf, and then make it back to the pub to just talk all things golf course architecture. A couple of weeks off, then we go to Sherwood Forest to represent the East Midlands. That's October 20th, 40 quid. Back down to London on the 22nd. So just a couple of days later, we're going to Woking. That's going to be foursomes. So classic Heathland Golf foursomes. That's 125 quid. October 29th, your neck of the woods, going to Goswick, which is probably a links course that most people don't know about, but is
it's a banger.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one. Hopefully I can make it up for that. If not, I know you'll be there for sure, and maybe a couple of the other fellas. I would like to make it there, though. Into November, we've got 4 dates. So the West Midlands, we're being represented by Beau Desert, or Beau Desert, beautiful desert, if you want to take the French off of it. 40 quids to play. And they're actually pushing back winter maintenance just so that we don't have to play off mats. That's incredible. I mean,
That's
talk about
cool.
service. So
that's very cool.
They said, look, we want to give you guys the best. On one of the par 3s, they said we might have one mat out just depending on how the weather is, but we're going to kind of push everything back so you guys have a good day. So that's amazing. Big shout out to them for helping us with that. Yeah. World Top 100 course, November 11th, Yorkshire, Ganton is having us. 60 quid.
That's unbelievable.
60 quid. World.
You're kidding.
60 quid to play. Yeah, 60 quid to play Ganton. I know it's November 11th, but that's amazing. East Anglia, again, just 2 days later. Royal Worlington. Now, there's a golf course that if you get it, you'll probably fit in very well with being a panelist. It's a
Or
golf course
Cambridge Blue.
that that's it. Yeah, one of the two. It's a little 9-hole golf course. We'll go around twice. It'll be a 2-ball, so foursomes, depending on how many we get. And I think it's a tenner for soup and sandwich, which you order through the window before you head out. Yeah, it's a great day. Royal Worthington. It's my home club, but it's a really good golf course. If you get Royal Worthington, like chances are you really understand the basics of golf course architecture, what makes a good green site, how routing works. There's a lot of things at Royal Worthington that will kind of help you understand what you're looking for in good golf. And then back up to Hillside for the Northwest on the 21st, 50 quid. So I think that's an amazing lineup
Hillside
of
for
9
50
venues.
quid.
50 quid for Hillside.
Wow.
So the club's been very generous. They were very happy to work with us. We told them that we were bringing some panelists, some of the leadership group from Top 100, and then bringing some candidates that have been shortlisted. So we want to thank everybody who's already applied. If I bring up the...
You've had quite a few applicants, haven't you?
It's amazing. And again, it might well be that not everybody gets to come. I mean, that based on the sheer amount of people that have applied, that will be the case. No, so I mean, everything looks really good. It's all really promising. And it's one of those ones where it doesn't matter who you know, it doesn't matter where you're a member. If you've got a passion, you like traveling, you like playing different golf courses, and you've got an interesting golf course architecture, that you'll be a good fit and you'll probably get along with everyone there.
It's not just about how you, what you'll be doing. It's also the community that's built around it. So it's having a group of people that you can talk golf course architecture about and be a bit nerdy about a bunker change on a golf course that no one cares about, and just having conversations, building up the architectural nuance and not nuance, nous of the everyone. I mean, that's our main aim in what we do. We want people to
Exactly.
appreciate good golf.
And we do have a lot of individuals that have played a lot of golf courses. But if you've played like 1,000 golf courses, you haven't played all of them recently. It's just physically impossible. Unless you're a ginger golfer and you're doing your best to play 700 this year. But that would be unsustainable in the long term. So you might hit 700 off, but I would hazard a guess that he probably doesn't remember all the intricate details of all of them, although he is quite a remarkable young man. So I guess what we're trying to say is if you've got a working knowledge of golf, you've seen a little bit in your local area, you've been around to see perhaps some of the World Top 100 stuff in GB&I or America, that will certainly help because you can kind of see what the upper echelon of golf can be and is. And that gives you a frame of reference for helping us with panels. So you're looking for people who have seen a lot, played a lot locally in their region, are interested in seeing more, and basically being an engaged member of Top 100.
It's and the other thing I would like to say, it doesn't matter how good you are at golf. That's irrelevant to, because we're going to have a conversation. There might be a couple of matches, but there doesn't have to be. It's just all about fun.
I mean, I've played golf with some of the best shapers, best architects, and the brightest minds in golf, and they are mid to high handicaps. I'm saying like 14 to 20 handicaps. And it's like, well, if playing really, really good golf was a prerequisite for being a world-class, brilliant architect, you would count those guys out. But they're not. They're amazing architects, brilliant at what they do. They just spend more time on a bulldozer than they do on the putting green.
To be fair, they probably could putt better with a bulldozer than the putter.
When you see some of these guys work the machines, it's unbelievable.
Oh, it's great. I still can't go over how good they are.
Yeah, it is poetry in motion, quite literally. So it's so we're really excited about it. We're hoping that we get a load of people. We've already had over 40 apply, 30 in most cases to a lot of these events. So out of that, we'll try and distill it down. If you don't get picked to come, that's fine too. There'll be these opportunities moving forward. So it's not like a one-shot, one-hit wonder. People's circumstances change, their ability to be involved or engage with the community, things change. People have children or life circumstances, whatever happens. So there's a natural attrition to these things. And what we want to do is continually have more people that are really switched on. And the more people we can have, the better. It's quality and quantity is what we're looking for.
Well, I just want to say thank you very much, Jasper. It's been a great chatting to you again. As always, a lot of fun and very interesting. And to the listeners, thank you very much for listening. I really appreciate all the love we've been getting, all the it's been quite emotional, some of the stuff. Like, it's been really cool, people reaching out and saying we love listening to you guys. And so we're hoping we're going to continue doing our interviews, but we'll probably do a bit more where it's just Jasper and I having a rant and enjoying ourselves about golf. So I'd like to say thank you to all of you, and just remember, play fast, lunch slow.
Thanks, James.